Hello everybody and welcome back to a very special video because we have recently hit 3,500 subscribers here on the channel. Thank you all so much for helping me and helping this channel reach this milestone. Now, to celebrate, I thought it would be fun to do a bit of a special video. I'm sure a lot of you guys are aware of my Disney Cars Diecast Errors and Inconsistencies series. It's a series where in each episode I discuss errors and inconsistencies from the Cars Diecast line. So I thought it would be fun to put a bit of a spin on it this time around, and to celebrate 3,500 subscribers, to take a look back at some of my past videos and discuss and sort of make some jokes about errors and inconsistencies that I've made in my videos throughout the years. Because, you know, nobody's perfect, everybody's made their fair share of mistakes, myself included. Whether it was a continuity error in Cars Adventures, or me just saying the wrong thing in a review, or me doing some sort of intentional inconsistency in a Cars Adventures episode, this video is going to cover 10 times that I made my own errors and inconsistencies in my videos. And by the way, I know usually I just upload one video of this series every month. For those of you waiting for the next regular episode for the Cars Diecast Errors and Inconsistencies, you're not going to have to wait a whole another month. I'm going to make that pretty soon. Anyway though, let's get started. Let's start off with an inconsistency that I made in a Cars Adventures episode that was actually a purposeful one. In Cars Adventures, Season 17, Episode 1, Tuner Police, released August 23rd of 2018, the tuners have to chase down Todd the Pizza Planet truck, who apparently has stolen some Piston Cup items. I believe that was a callback to a previous episode. But when they begin to track him down, the tuners switch from their 155 scale Mattel diecasts to their Disney Store counterparts, which are larger, have sort of different detailing, and have the pullback feature as part of them. Wingo even points out that all of the characters look different as a bit of a fourth wall break. This was actually done because I just wanted to try something different. I had just gotten home from Disney World at the time, I think just a few days before that, and I had picked up a 5-pack of Sheriff and the Tuners from the Disney Store cars, as well as the Disney Store car version of Todd the Pizza Planet truck, and I thought it would be fun to do an episode where I could use those versions of them. So the fact that I switched out the cars halfway through the episode, yeah, that was a purposeful inconsistency, because I just wanted to try something different at the time. Was it necessary? No, not at all. It really wasn't, and looking back at it now, it's just really kind of weird. This next one is an error that I've mentioned several times on a few live streams recently. For whatever reason, I thought that the song that played in the credits of Cars 3 was called Red Eyes, and not Ride. I thought instead of saying Ride, they were saying Red Eyes. What does that even mean? Well, for whatever reason, I thought that. It just dumbfounds me. I don't know why I thought that. But unfortunately, my mistake, my misheard lyric, got into 2 Cars Adventures episodes. Season 3, Episode 20, a Thanksgiving special, was called Red Eyes. It was released November 23rd, 2017. It featured a bunch of cars in some sort of Doc Hudson memorial race. And, you know, I guess at the time I thought it was a clever title. You know, they're all racing like in the song Red Eyes that plays at the end of Cars 3. And once again, in Season 5, Episode 18, from January 8th of 2018, an episode was released called Red Eyes and the Drip Pan, which featured Lightning and Barry D. Peddle racing, and there was one joke about them making constant references to the other Cars movies. Lightning repeated the "I've got my drip pan and I'm taking my nap" line, and then the two of them start racing around Willie's Butte, and I start singing that song, and Barry goes, "No, we're not playing that," and then he starts singing Red Eyes, Red Eyes. So yeah, for whatever reason, thought they were saying Red Eyes, and it's affected 2 Cars Adventures episodes. Up next, my November 11th, 2018 collection video has one of my least favorite mistakes I've ever made. This thing has bothered me for years now. In it, for whatever reason, the collection video starts towards the end of my Lightning McQueen collection, more than halfway through it. I'd say more than like 75% through it. You barely see any of my McQueens. You can see some of the row of McQueens behind them, but you just never see my McQueens from Cars 1 or 2 or 3. It starts with like my Fireball Beach McQueens and my custom McQueens, and then you immediately get into my Maters. So I'd assume what happened when I was making this was I had filmed a shot of me going through all of my McQueens, and then for whatever reason I had to stop when I got to that part of the McQueens, and then I started a new shot starting there, and for whatever reason I forgot to include that earlier shot featuring all of the other McQueens. It bothered me for a really long time, and I didn't make another collection video until May of 2020. Let's go all the way back to September 9th of 2017, to the 4th ever episode of Cars Adventures Spy Story. An episode where, in the description, I celebrated reaching a total of 7 subscribers that day. Nice going, me, in 2017. Anyway, this episode features another error that's bothered me for years now. In this episode, there's one scene where Mater is like sort of cornered by Professor Z. Professor Z is about to knock him off of a cliff, and Finn and Holly drive by, and Professor Z says, "Stop right there or the tow truck gets it." And Mater says, "Wait, what's it?" And Professor Z goes, "You know, it." And Mater goes, "Well, if it is a candy bar, then you guys better keep on going." And it's a joke that barely makes sense, but he's saying, "You're gonna get it." Mater doesn't know what he means by get it, and he assumes that it is some sort of prize. It's weird. It's a really bad, dumb joke. And I accidentally included 2 different takes of that scene, because immediately after that scene is a very, very similar version of that scene. It's just an alternate take of that scene, and for whatever reason, I forgot to delete the other take that I didn't want to include, but in the second version of this scene we see directly after, Mater says chocolate bar instead of candy bar, and there are some other small changes. Now let's talk about a more recent, but similar to the last one, error. Now Cars Adventures has been no stranger to credit scenes. All the time I'm putting different scenes after the outro of Cars Adventures episodes. Oftentimes they're bloopers, but sometimes they're other little jokes and gags. I really enjoy including things like that in different episodes. But there was one time where I included one by a complete accident. Cars Adventures, Season 31, Episode 1, Downhill, has a huge error that I somehow didn't notice. Like, how did this slip by me? I have no idea. But after the outro of the episode, a scene from the middle of the episode is replayed. I don't know how this slipped by me, but for whatever reason, I accidentally included the same scene in there twice. The exact same version of the same scene in there twice. And yeah, it just takes up like a minute and a half after the outro. Yeah, that's definitely... I don't even know how that got by me. I've discussed several times in the past how my older episodes of my Disney Cars Diecast That Should Be Made series have now become outdated due to just how many cars mentioned in them have been released since. In fact, I've even started up a companion series to that called Disney Cars Diecasts That Have Been Made, where I go over what cars have been released from those original episodes of the series. But while a lot of the cars I've discussed in these older episodes have been released since they came out, there was one car that I didn't even realize had been released several years before I had mentioned it in a Cars That Should Be Made episode. In Next Gen Pities and More, Disney Cars Diecast That Should Be Made, from February 5th of 2018, I included Car with Metal Detector, Deluxe. I had no idea at the time that this was Alex Vandell, who was released in, I believe, 2012, in that original batch of Cars 2 diecasts. I was aware of the Alex Vandell diecast at the time. Like, I knew he was a thing, I knew he existed. I didn't own him. I just recently got him last Christmas. But for whatever reason, I didn't realize that he was the car that goes through the metal detector. At the time, I had never gotten a good look at the Alex Vandell diecast, and I don't think I'd even realized that he was missing his wheels. So I threw him into Cars That Should Be Made. Although, interestingly, I said that he should be a deluxe and include the metal detector that he goes under as an accessory, thus warranting him being a deluxe. But, of course, when Alex was released back in around 2012, that didn't happen. The next 2 errors are both from my Cars Redline movie, which is still the longest video on my channel to this day. In this movie, it's revealed that Rod Torque Redline, in the Cars Adventures timeline, survived the explosion that killed him off in Cars 2, and now he wants his revenge on Mater and the spies, and in order to do that, he captures Lightning to try to lure them to him. But all of his friends band together in an attempt to find him and bring him back. In fact, it seems that Winford Bradford Rutherford wanted to find Lightning so badly that he came back from the dead in order to do it. Winford Bradford Rutherford was actually killed off in a Season 3 Cars Adventures episode. I believe he was the first ever character I killed off in that series, and looking back, I really kind of regret it. But there's this huge group shot in Redline where an absolute ton of cars surround, like, I think they're on the inside of Roderick Redline's base, and they're all chanting that they want Lightning back. And among them is Winford Bradford Rutherford, who was accidentally placed there, even though he had been killed off in the Cars Adventure series a year prior, and Redline was canon to Cars Adventures. But Winford wasn't the only character accidentally put in that shot, as I accidentally included an additional pair of Mia and Tia. In addition to the normal red Mia and Tia, gold Mia and Tia accidentally appeared in that shot as well. With so many cars in this group shot, there were bound to be some mistakes, but once again, I'm surprised that these slipped past me. I'm just going to ignore that Winford was in that scene, because again, he's just not supposed to be there, but we did find a solution to the other Mia and Tias in that scene in the livestream recently. There are not two sets of Mia and Tias. The other two are their cousins, Rhea and Pia. Thanks, Cortendo. We've discussed a lot of different types of errors in Cars Adventures today, and for the final Cars Adventures error, I'm going to go over one regarding a character's name changing. A blue monster truck was introduced in Season 2 of Cars Adventures. His name is Excitement. The whole point of the joke is that the cars are bored, and they wish some excitement could fall out of the sky, and then this monster truck, whose name is literally Excitement, he falls out of the sky. It wasn't very clever. This character went away in the series for well over a year, until appearing in Season 24. But when he came back, his name had changed from Excitement to Extreme. Now, there were some other changes with him. His paint job had changed, his voice had changed. Those were both intentional. But I didn't realize that his name wasn't Extreme originally. For whatever reason, I was under the impression that his name was Extreme in his first appearance, and I didn't go back to watch his first appearance to double check that. So now, when the character appears now, his name is just Extreme instead of Excitement, with no explanation. And for the final error / inconsistency of the video, let's go to something even more recent. An error and inconsistency within my Ties Cars 4 movie. Well, actually, not within it, but with the trailers and such leading up to it. Originally, the character Kara Crashwell in the movie was named Kara Crashway. Chick Hicks introduces her as Kara Crashway in the second trailer for Ties Cars 4, but by the next trailer, the In 1 Month trailer, her name was Kara Crashwell. I'm not sure when the change happened, but at some point in my making of the movie, I decided to call her Kara Crashwell instead of Kara Crashway, and the name stuck. But Kara's name isn't the only thing that changed in the production of Ties Cars 4. In fact, that fan film has a bunch of deleted scenes and rejected concepts, but I'll be covering those at another time. Anyway though guys, thank you all so much for watching this video, and thank you for 3,500 subscribers. I hope you enjoyed sort of looking back at my past errors and inconsistencies. I'll see you guys next time. Bye now.